Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. How often do you find yourself out on the golf course, whether it's your tee shot or your shot on the fairway, and you put a beautiful practice swing on it, only to get to the real shot, and then you kind of snatch at it or you rush that downswing? What is going on? Well, in this week's golf lesson, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can stop rushing that downswing, how you can create this much smoother, effortless golf swing by learning to manage energy in your golf swing, how to store energy in your backswing, how to keep it in the downswing, and then how to release it in the impact area. So how do you store it, how do you keep it, then how do you release it? That's what I'm going to cover in this week's golf lesson. Now before I do, look, if you're new to the channel and this is one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Press that little bell button, next subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. I'll put a free downloadable practice plan in the description box below so you can take out to the driving range. So how do you stop rushing that downswing and create this lovely effortless move? Well, look, as we said, you need to learn how to manage energy in the golf swing. You need to learn how to store it in the backswing. You then need to learn how to keep hold of it in the downswing, and then need to learn how to release it at exactly the precise moment. So storing it, keeping it, releasing it. So how do you start? We'll start with it. How do you start with storing it? Well, if you get to the top of the backswing and you haven't got enough energy stored, your body's instinctively going to want to do what? It's going to rush. It's going to try and add a lot of energy quickly into that downswing. This will give you that rushed feeling, that kind of snatchiness through the impact area. So let's help you now effectively create a backswing that stores the most amount of energy for you. And I say for you because you and I are going to be different ages, we're going to be different levels of flexibility, and your amount of turn is going to be different to mine. So let's figure out how you can first of all maximize your turn, but find out exactly where it should be. So simple exercise to start with is this. We're going to test your flexibility and help you create this movement. Imagine now somebody has just called your name behind you, and what you're going to do, you're going to look over this trail shoulder here. Now this, look at this motion. This represents my turn. Simple as that. I have pivoted around. Now, I've made this easier for me to do this by extending my trail leg. I haven't kept it flexed, which I see so many people doing, which restricts this energy and this turn. I've extended it. I've even allowed my lead leg, my heels, to come off the ground to help with this pivot. And I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm not looking around it. I'm looking over it. That helps me stay centered. So I'm able to max out my pivot for me. Now, if I put my lead arm up into position now, I find that's my full length backswing. I'm done. I know now my destination. That's me done, right? I want you to do this. You might find that you can't look over, you might get to here and go, Danny, I can't look over this shoulder. Double check that you've extended this leg. Double check maybe even that you've lifted this lead heel off the ground. So you've maxed out your potential to store energy. And even then, if you can only kind of look to about here, you can't get round, no problem. Just means that you've got some limited flexibility. And if you can, and then put your lead arm up here. And if you're down here, that's fine. That's your full backswing position. Leave it at that. This is very, very important because if you try to go further than this, that's when all the energy gets sapped away. Once you've done that, now you've ticked off stage one. You've got your pivot, you've stored the energy. How do you go about keeping it now? So, keeping it simple. You now know your destination. All you have to do to keep it is get into a position that looks something like this. All great players, when they're keeping energy, have this angle here. All stored, this energy in the club is stored to be released. The angle's released right at the last moment. That's the energy being powered into that golf ball. If you aren't generating energy, what's happening? You are releasing this angle too soon. It's happening before the golf ball. All the energy's been disappeared. It goes too early. Why? Reason being is you're either trying to complete your backswing, and then what happens is this. You start your downswing from the wrong foot. From here, if you start here, you're going to release and snatch this downswing from the wrong foot. What do I mean by that? Well, watch this. Your downswing needs to have started, or pressure goes into this foot, before you've reached the top of your swing. How do you feel this? Take a club, you have to stop the video, do this now. Take a club and hold it just in your fingers to feel this. As I swing this club backwards, like this, I'm going to start my pressure going into this foot before it reaches the top of its journey. Watch what happens when I do this. Bang. I automatically create this angle. So not only have I put my weight here now, I'm over the ball, I've also stored this energy. I've got this energy bringing back into the golf ball here that I can now release. What's the alternative? Well, look, if I don't start this downswing before I've completed, it will look something like this. Now the problem is, I'm gonna literally throw it from here. Does that make sense? There's barely any angle formed, and now all I'm gonna do from here is just hit from this foot, which means all the power's disappeared. I want to start this motion before I reach the top. Now, how do you go about doing it? Just start really, really small. You need to feel this motion first. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it up in stages until you reach your top of the swing. So I'm going to swing to about here, and I'm going to make sure that I start this pressure shift when I feel the club reaches about here, so nice and early. So I've got 145 yards to go. I'm not going to reach the green initially with this one. So watch this. It's nice and small. Start the pressure shift before I reach the top. So just a tap up there. Okay, well, actually reached, I think. Yeah. So bigger than I thought it was going to be, right? So what I'm going to do and what I want you to do is you start small with this, just tapping a few down there to start with, and then gradually work it up to your top of the backswing position. So let's say I got to about here this time. Let's say I'm going to feel like I'm going to get to about here. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to try and get my pressure shift starting here whilst the backswing's going to this destination, right? So I'm swinging back, starting before I reach the top with this pressure. Let's have a look at this one. Should be a bit further. There we go, right? Probably wrong club. God, I'm getting stronger. I've been a bit injured, so I'm taking a bit more than I normally would. So that's all I want you to do. That's how you're going to keep this energy on the way down. Work this all the way up until you get to your top of the swing. Whatever you do, I do not want to see you all the way up here with this here, because now you're transferring too late. You won't be able to keep that energy. It will be released too early. Get it back. Move this before you complete. Now, number 3. This is the glue that kind of glues this all together and helps you take this to a golf course without thinking. Is how do you release it? When do you release it? Well, use my 101 exercise, which is simply this. Say the words 101. It's like an auditory cue that helps time the swing, helps store energy. 101. Get the words out. 101. Notice this. 101. 101. You see the timing? You can start to kind of glue all this together using auditory cues. It gets rid of all those things, all those thoughts that are flooding through your head, keeps it much, much easier, and away we go. So let's have a look at this. 101. Oh, it's so nice to be hitting golf balls again. Not bad. Again, pretty wrong club, too much club. I get the power back. Fantastic. So 3 things. You need to learn how to store energy. You need to learn how to keep it, and then you need to learn how to release it. How do you store it? Find how to max out your turn, your pivot, yeah? If you have to lift your lead heel, do it. If you have to, you're gonna have to extend it. Everyone has to extend this trail leg. You don't have to complete straighten it, but extend it. Use this exercise of looking over the shoulder. Find your full length swing. Then you need to learn how to keep that energy. Start off by just feeling this transition. So you literally kind of feel this kind of snap there. So you're literally going forward before this completes. Start small, play a few shots. Yeah, just get that sensation. 1, bang, bang, bang. Extend it, keep that. Always starting before you reach the full length of your swing. That's how you keep the energy. And third and finally, glue it all together with 101 so you can start to take that lovely timing out on the golf course. 101. And that should really, really, really help. Look, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with some of your friends who could really do with some help with some of their timing and maybe stopping rushing that downswing of theirs. And of course, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing by pressing that bell button so I can give you more videos just like this every week. And remember, look, there's a free practice plan in the description box below, so you don't have to remember a thing. Just download it. But until next week, have a great golfing week.